Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight. I am going to be talking about my journey going back to school, going to Esthetician School. I'm super excited to talk about this. I'm super passionate about becoming an esthetician and education and learning so yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will answer them as best as I can. And I will talk a little bit about everything and my journey. Hey, Ella. Thanks for joining. I see your question. How many careers do you have? That's a really great question. I have a few different things that I have done, I guess, for work so far in my life. I feel like a lot of people have so many different like paths or careers. But I've worked in a lot of different industries. I guess I'll start with that. I worked in the service industry for several years after graduating from college. I worked at a country club and I planned weddings. So I did like wedding planning and event execution for like 5 or 6 years. After that, I worked in the fashion industry, mostly in like assistant positions. And that was like a really like fun time in my life. I absolutely loved it. Um, I worked for a smaller jewelry brand. His name was Eddie Borgo. I was his executive assistant. He's kind of like, I think he still has like a line now. Um, but yeah, then I worked for Marc Jacobs for a little while as an assistant. And that was on the design team floor. And it was like a very, very cool job. Like saw Marc every single day. Saw the entire like creative direction team every day. It was like a wild thing. Anyway, after working in fashion, I was kind of like over it, which is crazy, but it's a lot. I worked as a like production and manufacturing planner at a brewery in New York called Montauk Brewing Company. And they're on the east end of Long Island in Montauk. And it was a really small brewery that had a ton of growth while I worked there. And I was really, I guess, key in that growth. So I love um, growing small things to bigger things. And that's a lot of my experience. Then I had a baby, and my baby is now almost 2. So I went back to work for a little while, and then I stopped working. I have enjoyed pretty much all of my jobs. I feel like every job, like area, like that I've gone down, I've really enjoyed a ton, and I've learned so much from. Over the past year, I worked with a few smaller brands on more of like a marketing, influencing style, as well as production. I've always kind of done a little bit of everything, which I really love, especially in small brands. I feel like it's really nice to get involved with um, just like a little bit of everything. Anyway, that's like a little bit of my background, which is super random, but a few months back, I was feeling sort of like, where am I going with my life? What am I doing? Like, let me just dig deep and figure out, like, what do I love? Like, what are things that I'm constantly coming back to? What am I, like, really, really doing? Um, and that was just around the time that I started streaming on Newness, and, like, I'd always kind of been creating, like, content on Instagram, and I have a blog that I've been writing on for, like, 10 years, which is kind of crazy. Um, and I've always written about like beauty products, things that I really loved. I had been a rep for Glossier since pretty much the beginning. They had launched with 8 reps, and then they added another 20, and I was part of that second group of 20. And during my experience there, I met a lot of really amazing people. And in the first year, I was part of their, like, I don't know, there were like 12 reps that had like the most sales, and they got to come to New York and do this whole like fun Glossier thing. And I did that, and that kind of like, these were all just things that were like kind of like keeping me in the beauty industry. And I was like, I love beauty so much. Like, I have all these like awesome experiences. Let me just like do something that I really like want to do. So a friend of mine had suggested to me, like, why don't you go to esthetician school? And I was like, I kind of always thought about that, but I was always like, not really. I was always like, just like a little bit weird about that. I don't know why. I was like, oh no, I went to college. I have a degree. I have a degree like in economics. I'm like, I've gone to school for business. Like, do I really want to go to school to become an esthetician? And I don't know why. Like who am I to put some kind of type of like, oh, this isn't like good enough? But I'm like, I love every esthetician that I know. I love every esthetician that I have gone to over the years. I always have. They are a wealth of information. They are so intelligent, beautiful, inside and out. And I'm like, this is what I want. Like, I really want to do this. So I have a friend that owns a spa, and she recommended a program that I look into, give them a call, and I did. And I had a really amazing interview with someone. I'm going to a school called NYIB. It's the New York Institute of Beauty. And I started there just after Easter on April 8th. And it's been just over a month, and I'm loving it so far. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like, people, including myself, like, I was very much like, do you guys know the movie Grease, where, like, I forgot the girl's name, but she sings the song, it's like, Beauty School Dropout. I obviously have the worst voice ever, and I'm kind of sick, so I have, like, a very raspy voice right now. But, like, I was like, oh, am I going to be, like, a beauty school dropout? Like, not that I'd be a dropout, but I just, like, always think of, like, that song, and I don't know why. I just, like, always felt like, oh, this is, like, not something for me. But now that I'm learning more and more about like what estheticians do and everything that I'm learning, I'm like, wow, this is so amazing, and I'm so upset at myself for not doing it sooner. So yeah, this has been a really awesome journey. I'm just gonna take a sip of water because I need it. I think my daughter got me sick. She had a little cold and runny nose over the weekend, and now I have the sniffles and like a dry throat. Not fun. So yeah. Okay, so I decided to go back to school. I interviewed. I like had to fill out an application. And I was accepted, super exciting. And I was able to start in their program like pretty much immediately. It was within like 2 weeks of my acceptance. I am paying for school out of pocket, which is an interesting thing. They offer like financial aid if you have never taken out loans before. But since I had gone to undergrad and graduated, I couldn't do that or something. I don't know. It was like interesting. Is it pricey? It can be. I like the price for this program, and I think many programs in New York is around $10,000. Some are more, some are less. For the general, I don't want to say general, but like for the 600 hours esthetician course, this is, or this one's like just under $10,000. So basically, what I'm doing is, I set up like a payment plan where I pay like, I think it's like $1,300 or $1,400 a month for the time that I'm in school. But there are different programs that you can do through federal aid. I just wasn't eligible for it, I believe, because I wasn't eligible for, I take all of that back, sorry. I was not eligible for any grants because I had already taken out loans and like gotten grants when I went to undergrad. So the financial aid I also wasn't eligible for because of my husband, who I am currently separating from, and that's another story, but his income makes me ineligible to get financial aid. So we're paying for it ourselves because that's where I'm at. So yeah, it's definitely freaking expensive. I hate it so much, but I think in the long run it will be so worth it. And like once I can start making money and working, I'm like I think it's going to like pay itself off very quick. All right, I'm hoping it does. So that is where I'm at so far, and school has been so interesting. I'm like the first in the program that I'm going to. My class is the first class that is going hybrid due to COVID. So like every other week, I have 1 week of school on Zoom where we're like doing book work. That's like like the book work and like classroom stuff. So it's like we have like a workbook. It's like this. I don't have it with me. Actually, yes, I do. I'm going to show it to you because it's like really funny. This is the lady or my lady, esthetician from fundamentals. I feel like every aesthetic school uses this textbook. It's like super. I don't want to say old school, but it's like very much like it feels like it's like from the 90s. Like some of the shit is just so like dated. It's just not like a 2021 book. The content is, I mean, it's fine. All the information is there, but like some of the like social norms are not really there. It's all very much like based on white skin. It's very like, it's just, I think it's like what you learn for like the tests that you're taking, but even like the professor or like the woman that teaches the course gives her own like side notes, and she's like, okay, this is what you're learning for the test, but in reality, this is how things are really going to be when you're an esthetician, which is, interesting. So we have 1 week where we're doing that kind of work, which is what I did this week. And then next week is in person. So that is in-person learning. Let's see. So far we did like our makeup chapter and we started back treatments. So this coming week we're finishing back treatments and starting like facials. So I'm super, super excited about that. It was very interesting to learn or start right in the makeup chapter because I was like, wait, how am I going to do this? I want to learn about skin. I'm like, what's going on? But it's actually cool because it got me like feeling more comfortable with like opening up, being myself, like being honest about what I was nervous about. And like, I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know, when you're putting your hands on someone else, it's very, very, I don't know, it's like a very personal experience. Um, and I'm like, I don't want to say I'm scared because I feel like I don't feel scared, but I feel like not. There's like just doing something for the first time is very interesting and can be a little scary. So that's where I'm at. I feel like the the class has been like super warm. Everyone is like really cool. Um, Lots of different personalities, walks of life, and I love that. The little group of Esties that I'm with is like super fun. There's 9 of us in our class, and it's been really a really good experience so far. And I'm just looking forward to. I feel like I've met so many cool people, and I'm just looking forward to meeting more amazing educators and estheticians. I'm already learning like a ton in this field. Like right now, we're learning about anatomy and physiology, which I feel like I learned already in high school and in college, but it's kind of like a good refresher and like going over things that I really didn't care about as much. And now I'm, caring more. Also, at the same time, I feel like the class, like the 600-hour aesthetics course, is pretty general. And I'm like a big nerd. And I'm already enrolled in like upgraded, updated courses because I just want to learn like more about things that like are not taught in the general class. Which makes me sound so like really nerdy, but I just have to share that because I think it's like important. So anyway, I started taking an advanced class in, let's see, what's the name of it? It is the Concepts Institute of Advanced Aesthetics. It is taught by, I want to say her name is Michelle Phelan. And I'm taking a course about cosmetic ingredients because I think ingredients are something that I'm just super interested in, and I am, I don't know, I just feel like it's constantly, ingredients are like something that people constantly ask you about. And I just want to know more, always. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat if anyone is interested in taking a look at this course. Let's see. That course is $160, and it's taught right online, and then there's a quiz test at the end, and you get like a certificate upon completion. And I just think that like higher education, especially in whatever field you're going into, is super important. Like it's just cool to know more, and that way, when people ask you questions, you can feel confident educating them on their specific skin type and how different ingredients will impact and affect their skin type, what would be beneficial towards them, and what would be, products they should potentially stay away from. Sorry if my voice sounds like very nasally today. I am really just getting over, or I'm still in it, having like a cold. So I'm like sniffly and very like, ugh. So this stream is probably going to be a little short tonight because I'm just like tired, and it's 8:22 and I want to go to bed at like 9 o'clock. I posted on Instagram this week about resting and making rest important, and I cannot share that enough. I just feel like rest is something that needs to happen for all of us so much more. I feel like we live in a world where like being busy is cool, and it's not. It's like we're I have some friends and like people that I talk to that I'm like, oh my god, I'm so busy, such a busy week, so much going on. It's like, okay, like maybe that's just like a figure of speech, but why? Why is it so cool to be busy all the time? It's kind of nice to slow down, take a break, take it easy, especially when you're not feeling good, right? Like, what is like, if you have a cold, which is what I have, like, what does the doctor always say? Or like, what does my mom always say? Like, rest, drink plenty of water, like lots of fluids and rest. And really, that's what helps. So I'm making a priority to rest this week. But obviously, I have to stream because I love streaming. So what else am I doing? I'm trying to streamline my beauty, skincare, makeup routine. And by streamline, I mean try to use less products, which is super hard for me because I'm always looking to try new products. Um, but I'm trying to like kind of like go back to like what I'm learning in my ingredients class in esthetician school and just like talk or like just start using products that are like efficacious to my skin and stop using like random things that like brands sent me. Um, which is nice and it's not always random. Like some of the things like I'm like trying to be more specific about which brands I'm working with and what products they send me, or if they're, they're giving me an option like, would you like to try any of these products? I'll say like, okay, yes, I'll try this one product that I'm very interested in instead of like having all of this excess. So yeah, that's a little side note as well. But does anyone have any questions about esthetician school? Or my journey thus far, or is there anyone that's interested in going to esthetician school? I know Regina was in here earlier, and she is a licensed esthetician, which I love. I like always love listening to Regina, who is at the Raw MUA on Newness and Instagram. She has a wealth of knowledge and information. I also do a clubhouse with Regina and a bunch of other newness creators. Hannah from Little Dewey Bay on Newness, Dude with Acne, Jackson. We do a chat bi-weekly on Mondays in the beauty room on Clubhouse. Our little group is called the Glow Up Collective, which is such a cute name. I love it. And we talk about all different like fun topics. Next week, I think on the 17th, we have Daniel Martin on our chat. So we're super excited about that. We had David Yee last week. So we have a lot of really cool speakers. We do a lot of also just chats with like, we have a group, I think there's like 7 of us on the panel. We all have different backgrounds. And it's just like been a really amazing group of like-minded and actually like with various different backgrounds. People in the beauty industry, content creators, and it's just very interesting, and I'm loving that soon I will be able to bring a esthetician voice to that table. Currently, I'm the esthetician in training, which is cute. So yeah, what else do I want to share about my journey going to esthetician school? So I'm only like 6 weeks, not even 6 weeks, I'm only 5 weeks in. So I'm doing a part-time program. And so I'm going 3 days a week. And I go from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And I'm due to finish in early December. So, and I'll be able to take my state board tests hopefully in January. So I'm super excited. So, like, this is all happening very quick in under a year. And I am extremely excited for this journey. And I can't wait to continue sharing. I think I'm going to start doing a little bit of beauty vlogging where I share more of my journey about like what I'm learning in school and like how I'm working on others on my YouTube, because I'm really trying to like increase my YouTube and as well as newness. I like love newness. There's so many like different platforms. Like, is anyone else feeling like platform like overload? There's so many different things like Instagram, Twitter. I don't really use Twitter actually. Like Instagram, newness. Like my favorite things to do are like Instagram, newness, and Clubhouse, I guess. But then there's TikTok and YouTube, and like there's just so many different like platforms. Like, where do you put your energy? Like, obviously, you don't want to put everything, in the same place. But Ella is saying Instagram drives me crazy. I completely agree. Like, I use Instagram every single day. I'm always on it. Like, I use it almost as like a news platform too. Like, I learn things on Instagram. But like, I put content there. I make reels. I do all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, like it's just like such a slow burn. Like I slowly grow there, and that's something I really want to do is grow, so I can like grow to like 10,000 followers, get a swipe up link, and be able to like share things with people in a more organic way too, because it's easier to share things with people when you can do a swipe up. Otherwise, you're like, go to the link in my bio, and then click this other link, and then go to the next page. It's like a pain in the butt. Anyway, I'm working on that. I also have a blog. I'm like doing a little bit in so many different areas, and I'm like, what is my return? But I know that like once I keep putting like good content out there and like more educational content as I'm like learning more in esthetician school, I'll feel like I'll be able to like offer more and more and more. But it can be like super frustrating. Definitely. But yeah, so it's one of my goals for this year to grow my following, and I feel like it's already happening like slowly. But it's happening, and that's like a good thing, and that's really all that matters. I'm realizing and learning that the less that I care about, like, oh, how many views this thing got, or how many followers I have, it's like it's just like fun, and I like these things, and if a couple of like cool people that are interested in it care, then like that's worth it for me. And I think that's like the big thing that I've been kind of realizing over the past few weeks, months of creating more content on a weekly basis. Ella says, I kind of want to get started, but most have been doing this for a long time. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think you should get started. Like, what's your hesitation? Because there's so many other people doing it. Like, but no one else is you. That's kind of what people have said to me. Like, other people are doing it, but they don't have like your touch or your flair or your like whatever you're bringing to the table, like your personality. And I think that that's what's fun. Like, people will get to know you and like you for who you are. You think too much. Yes, too many other people, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's just like, it is a lot. There's definitely like, Instagram is like oversaturated or whatever. Like, there's always, there's always going to be an excuse or a reason to not. But like, I think when it comes down to it, like micro influencers or people who, micro influencers are such a big market for brands now. Because, okay, so I used to work also, this past year, I worked for a company called Poolside, and they make straw handbags and things like that. Like, mostly it's like straw handbags. They're made in Morocco and India. And I started like an influencer like program with them. So we reached out to like, I don't know, like 50 girls on Instagram, and they had like a variety of followings. Poolside was and is very connected in the like PR space because the founder previously had a career in PR, so she had connections to like really amazing, like high end, huge superstar bloggers, as well as mid range bloggers and some smaller bloggers. So so this program that we started, I reached out to, we started with gifting toward like, I don't know, 10 girls that were, most of them were like micro influencers. Some weren't, some had bigger followings. But like the moral of the story was that we had this one girl, Jess, that we worked with, and she had like, I don't know, maybe like 1,400 followers on Instagram. And then we reached out to other girls who had maybe like 50,000 followers on Instagram or 80,000 followers on Instagram. And Jess, with 1,400 followers, sold the most bags than any other girl in this program. I think it's because she's more relatable. The people are like, as a micro influencer, people are like really trust what she's saying. Because they see like she has this item, she loves it, she's showing it. Like, she ended up selling 5 bags, which I think was like huge for someone, like, because they're not like, they're definitely they're pricier bags. They're like they're $250 and up for straw handbags. They can be, that's an investment. And she sold 5 within her community because I think it's much more like going deep in your community as opposed to like having the reach to all of these people. But like, maybe you'll swipe up on that, famous person's link, but are you really going to buy from them? I don't know. Maybe you'll look at it later. You'll see like, oh, that's cool, whatever. But then you click out of it because you're not really interested. Or maybe you'll look again later, or you'll look it up again at a later time. So that's like interesting too, because sometimes those bigger influencers, they do have influence, but it's a little bit harder to track because they do a swipe up link. I mean, I do this all the time. I do a swipe up link on Instagram. I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then that idea like gets in my head and I'm like, okay, like maybe I will think about this bag or whatever. And maybe I'll go back to their website on my own, like in a couple days if I'm still thinking about it. So then I'm just going to Poolside's website directly as opposed to like going to that person's link. So then like it's almost like that person doesn't get credit for it. It's very interesting, influencer dynamics and like marketing, using influencers, micro influencers and not. But this is like a major side note. But anyway, I think if you're interested in starting an Instagram or starting a website or like your own kind of thing, and even if it just means like marketing yourself or like branding yourself, I think you should. There are a lot of really cool branding like classes out there as well that you can like find online that can help you like discover your voice and like what you want to say and put out there and like who you actually are and what like your value will be in the world. And I think that can be super helpful if you're just starting out, um, because you want to like always tell your audience like who you are, what they're gonna find when they come to you. And yeah, I think that can be helpful. So if there are no other questions about esthetician life or me being in esthetician school right now, I think I am going to head off of this stream because I am in need of some rest. I need to finish my water and refill this cup. And yeah, Ella, thank you so much for joining tonight. This was great. Love to see you. Speaking of voice, I created a few videos around the holidays, watched my footage sound nervous, and I was losing my breath. That's how I feel tonight. I feel like I'm losing my breath. But I think like we're all super judgmental about like on ourselves, and like honestly, no one else is thinking about it. That's what I've thought too. Like when I stream and stuff, I'm like, the first few times I streamed, I'm like, oh my god, I sound so crazy. And I'm like, honestly, like really don't. Like everyone else, no one else even notices or cares. People are usually very focused on themselves, which, we both just admitted to, like thinking about how we sound. But they're not like really caring or judging you for like, I mean, I know my voice, I sound very like raspy and like, ugh, because I'm kind of sick and I'm like sniffling, but like, I don't know. I don't think anyone else really cares. At the end of the day, people just, they're just, they're there to support you. And I think that if you start this and you record a couple of videos, just post them, just do it. Put them out there. It's good. I'll support you. I have to like find your, oh, people do judge you and you don't handle it well. Do you have an Instagram that you'd like to share? I can follow you on Instagram. I know sometimes people are judgmental, and people are judgmental though. It's like you gotta like inhale the good shit, exhale the bullshit. You heard that? It's kind of like it's just like let whatever you put out there, like what you think about, you bring about. Yeah, I think you should just create one and share it with people on newness. Then you'll, have friends automatically there, follow people, they'll follow you back, and it just starts growing. People will find you if you like post interesting, good quality content. Then your your niche and like people will follow you. So I think you should definitely do it whenever you are ready to. So with that being said, thank you again for joining, and I am out for the night, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.